we did it.
Did we do it? Are we official?
We hit start streaming down here, see what happens.
I feel like we should have some cool music playing when it starts up. What you think?
Sure. Check the YouTube.
Has it gone yet?
It should be.
Ayo, 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 ayo. I don't have my creative that's that down here. Doing a little Scotty Hastings.
No, it's. We'll check YouTube.
It's on Facebook too.
We'll check YouTube.
Check it.
Okay, we're live on YouTube. Well, at the very least, we'll have it on YouTube, and I can repost it to everything else.
Okay, so just rock and roll with it.
I can roll with it.
I'm gonna leave that playing just lightly in the background. Is that okay, you think? Probably go off in a second. What's up, everybody? It's your buddy Jesse Wayne Taylor here with the old Creative Eds crew. My buddy Cole is back here making all this magic happen so that I come hang out with you. And what's on the agenda today is changing some guitar strings. I'm actually going to turn it down because it's just going to distract me. So today we're going to change some guitar strings. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. If we have enough time to do that many. If not, I'll do the other ones later. But I was thinking, man, I need to restring these guitars. They've all gotten old. I haven't had time to do it lately. And I thought, you know what? I've got a lot of veterans that I've worked with that I know really might appreciate a video of me changing some of these strings, because each guitar that you work with, or each guitar that you have, is going to be a little different, right? Especially the electrics. And when I bust those out here in a minute, you'll see what I'm talking about. Most acoustics are going to be very similar. And since I'll be doing 2 of those, you'll see that here in a moment. We're going to start with this first guitar that I have here. It's an Ibanez. This was actually, this was the second guitar I ever bought with my own money. The first one I bought is, I think, sitting under a bed at my parents' house. It's an Epiphone. But I had a buddy of mine that was playing a lot of the Riders rounds that I was playing in town with me. But or he was willing to come play like backup guitar, but he didn't have an acoustic. All he had was an electric. So I had a few extra $100 in my bank account at the time, and I said, I'm gonna go buy another acoustic electric guitar. That way, first of all, I have a backup in case mine goes down, and then also that way I got one. That way my buddy Gabe can come jam with us if he has the availability to do so. So I bought that guitar. Then you will notice. Can we switch to the other camera there for a sec? So there's a big crack. You see that big crack? Yeah, it's like 6 inches long. I called this guitar Scarface because of that big old crack. Now, I let my little brother borrow this guitar. And he took it over to a friend's house, and they had a sleepover, and they came back with that big old crack in it, but none of them had any idea how it got there. None at all. And I was like, well, boys, I can tell you something right now. That crack sure didn't just show up on accident. Ultimately, we haven't gotten down to the bottom of the story of where the crack came from officially. But luckily, my dad was kind enough to have that repaired for me. And it's been doing good for me ever since. So, first things first. A little tool that might help doing this. Might make it a little bit quicker for you. I don't know if I know the exact term for this. Probably like string winder or something like that. Yeah. But ultimately, it's just a nice tool to be able to take these strings off really quickly. Right? So you stick it, the opening around the tuning peg right here, and you just go to town, buddy. loosen it all the way up. They actually make these with like it looks almost like a power drill, like a little mini power drill, and you stick the housing over the tuning peg and you punch the button and it just takes them down for you. Another reason I wanted to do this is because sometimes there's little things that I forget that I like to do if I'm just telling people about tuning, or kind of teaching but not showing. And I thought, man, this would be a great chance for me to hopefully not miss some of those nice little tips that you don't think of unless you're doing it in the moment. So typically, I'll get them to about right here, and then I will come through so that they're loose and there's no tension pulling on the guitar when I do this. But I'll take a pair of wire cutters right here, and I'll come up to the top part and I'll cut those bad boys off right there. And then these little leftover pieces up here at the top, take those guys off. That one's on there pretty good. Okay. Almost done. Alright. Woo! That one got me. That one got me. Got me right on the finger. It'll happen. That'll happen sometimes, yo. You just gotta be tough, son. Alright. It's always nice to have a little trash can handy. You never know when you're gonna need to ditch some strings in a good trash can instead of letting, like, if I would have dropped those on the floor, I can almost guarantee you I'd have ended up with one of them in my foot. No doubt. So, keep you a good trash can around. Okay, next thing we're going to do, these little string pegs down here, okay? I've got, on this winder, it's got like a little bitty divot right here. Whoop, a little bitty divot, which I don't know if you can see. There you go. You can see it there in that angle. There's a divot, a little cutout. And you can use that to dig it right underneath one of the pegs. So I'm going to use that, run it up under. That's going to pull the peg up, hopefully. Come on, there we go, son. So there's one peg. Come on, dude. This has been in here for a minute, so it's been a little sturdy. Watch me. Well, I tell you what, right now, hold on, what brand is this? Oh, I don't say it on there. I have had this string winder for a long time, probably like 10 years, and I've used it a lot. I've never had that happen. So hopefully I'll still be able to get these bad boys out. If not, me and Cole did a live stream for nothing. There we go. I'll probably cut myself with it somehow, but ultimately I will say this, and it's probably good that this happened because I wouldn't talk about this had it not happened. But if you don't have one of these string winders, or I don't really know what you call the little divot in there that allows you to use it for that, one little trick you can use is get yourself a sturdy guitar pick. Sturdy, thick guitar pick, and then use that to get some leverage under the peg. Now, like I said, these are in here pretty good, so I might have trouble doing it like that, but I have done it this way before, and sometimes you just don't have an option. You got to do it that way. Yeah, here we go. Slower, but it works, okay? So, sturdy pick, that'll do the job for you too if you need to make it happen. This is a Dunlop .88 millimeter. I love that one. I love those Dunlop picks, man. They have a really cool, like, almost like matte finish texture to them. It's not like a slidey, glossy feeling. It's more of like you can get a little bit more grip on it. I like these 73 millimeter yellow ones, and then I love the, what was that again? 0.88 millimeter green ones. Those are my favorite picks for show. Okay, all right. So let's get these other three pegs out of here. Man, I can't believe I'm going to get me a new stinking string winder. I want to say that was a Dunlop string winder, I've got the package that it came with down here somewhere. Okay. So now that I have all my strings out, I will take them and kind of wrap them up together like this. Ooh, my phone's yelling at me. But I'll just get all the ends with the, I guess you would call that the ball end of the string. Take that and I just wrap it around my hand like this, and then I will wrap these guys up underneath a few times so that everything holds together. And then I will toss that into the trash bin unless there's something else that I'm doing with that. I know some people, you know, us creative vets, people at Creative Vets, we like to be creative with everything. So I could see us being like, hey, let's make some bracelets out of these, or let's use them for somebody's art project. I could definitely see that happening. So if you want to use some for an art project, hang on to those things. Okay, one thing that I did forget, and I think I've got, yeah, this will work. So what's really nice to have is some sort of cleaning cloth around when you're changing the strings on your guitar. This is just a simple, I don't even think it's got a brand name on it. I don't know where it came from, but it's just a really soft cloth. Oh, it does. Whatever that is, CECILIO. How would you say that?
Cecilio?
There you go. I'm glad you said that. Cole, buddy, I'm glad you're around. You know how to talk better than I do, son. That's what I'm talking about. So yeah, it's nice to have something to clean around, or soft to clean with around. I would say that, honestly, most of the time when I'm doing this, I'm using an old white t-shirt. Doesn't need to be anything special. Another thing that I don't have, I'm going to grab it real quick, is a toothpick. Hold on, I'm coming back. Don't go nowhere. The toothpick is very important. And you're probably all wondering, Jesse, what do you need a toothpick for when you're changing guitar strings? And the answer is to look like the Fonz. Actually, that's not the answer. But the truth is, when you play guitar, and especially if you actually play guitar and not just like have one that you pick up every once in a while, you're going to get some grime up next to these frets. I mean, you are basically like mauling your fingertips with these strings. And so a lot of that is going to catch and gather up next to these frets. So I typically like to take, and you don't want to do this hard, right? If you do this hard, it's gonna, you'll see it'll scratch into the fretboard. But you just want to lightly go across. I'm sure you can't see it on the camera from the angle that we're at right now, but there's definitely some like, oh, Cole's gonna give us a good angle here. There's definitely some stuff coming off of these frets. And now, I haven't played this one super hard, this particular guitar. Right now, if I were to play a few songs acoustic somewhere, I would have to play right-handed, and this is the right-handed one that I have that is set up good enough to do some playing. I've got another guitar that I really like to play live most. It's a Triple O Martin, but it needs a setup really bad, and I can change strings and I can clean a guitar fretboard and make it look real nice, but I'm not much of a setter-upper. I like to take it to somebody who has some more experience in that, and somebody who kind of sets up guitars every day. I would rather someone like that set it up than me, because I can almost guarantee you I would make a lot of mistakes, because when you set up a guitar, what is happening is they are taking this nut up here in this bridge, and they're trying to make those strings sit at the perfect distance from these frets. And they use these little rulers, and they got all these good tricks to make it happen and make it work right. You also have to, most newer guitars have a metal rod that runs all the way down the middle, inside the middle of the neck, and that's called the truss rod. When someone sets up your guitar, they're going to probably have to adjust that too. And that's probably the biggest reason why I don't really try to set up anything myself, because every single time I have touched a stinking truss rod, I have messed it up. And I have made everything worse. Nothing got better. So I would highly suggest if you want to get your guitar set up, don't try it yourself for the first time. Maybe go to spend the money and get it set up by somebody who really knows what they're doing. Because I know quite a bit about a guitar, and I still don't really love doing that myself, because you want it to be set up right, or it's going to be really hard to play. So now I took the time to go through and scrape out any, just like easily, like I said, gently go up against that fret and the fretboard. Now I'm going to wipe that down. I'm going to come through. I don't know if you guys can tell, but there's like some dust and like stuff right here from where, like, it's right behind the strings. Make sure you get all of that. Make sure you get everything wiped down real nice. I also love to use a little bit of polish, okay? And so now is the time when I will do that. Let's see, that's almost gone. Let's try. So normally, straight up, I will let you know this is my favorite polish to use, especially when as of right now, especially when I'm working with that Triple O Martin that I have. It does not have a glossy finish like this Ibanez does, and this particular, what is the word for it? I just said
Brand?
Not brand. What is this? Polish. This particular polish just works really well for that guitar, that Martin that doesn't have the shiny finish on the top. This stuff I think would probably work fine too. I just haven't used it. This is a Dunlop cleaner polisher. Pretty simple. It came in like I think I got a pack from my mother for Christmas of 4 different kind of like cleaning polishes, and this was one of them, and it's the one we're going to use today. So I try not to be like too intense with it, but I want to get enough on there for it to have enough liquid to work loose anything that's just kind of like sticky or grimy or anything like that. I'm going to go to all the little nooks and crannies. Like, there's obviously some like grime up here from where the hand sits while I'm playing, and so just come through and clean all of that up, run it over the bridge and the saddle too. And you probably couldn't tell that from the camera picture right here, but as I did that, you can tell that that bridge was pretty, that was a pretty dry piece of wood, and as soon as I went over it with that polish, it got darker, which I appreciate. And I'm assuming that the fretboard is probably about to do the exact same thing. So, again, I'm going to spray a little bit more here, and then I'm going to take that spot that I just sprayed, start right here, and just go across the whole fretboard with it. Some people do, like, I've heard of people like doing weird stuff, like doing this with whiskey or something. I have never done that. I just am a polished guy. But I have heard of people doing stuff like that, doing different things. Maybe like, I feel like I watched a video of somebody doing like lemon juice or something like that. I can't remember. But if you are a guitar player and you happen to hop on this and you have heard of something like that before, maybe drop it in the comments and tell us what you do. And also, if you are just tuning in randomly and you happen to be a guitar tech and you know something that I don't know, stinking let us know in the comments. I ain't perfect. I ain't got it all figured out, but I guess I do know a thing or two, and I don't mind learning something new. So if you got something that I don't know, holler at us, let us know, and maybe the next time we do a tuning video, we will add that part in as well. So now my neck looks a lot better. You could tell, I could tell from my eye. I don't know if y'all could tell with that camera. But But it made a massive difference. Like I said, with the bridge and the fretboard, they both kind of darkened up a little bit. At this point, I've done pretty much all that I want to do before I start putting strings back on. So now, I'm going to pop open my box of strings. I am going to put on some Elixir lights. Okay, so that's a 12 to a 53. To be honest with you, I really prefer Elixir mediums on my acoustics, but I don't have a pack of those, and I have a few packs of these, and they need to go. So that's what we're gonna do. I always like to start with the heavy one first. Always great to have a trash can nearby, dude. You don't want all these papers floating around, and like as soon as you clip these strings from the top, you're gonna want somewhere to throw that too. So just before you even get started, grab you a little trash can. You can thank me later. Also, it doesn't matter which peg was with which string. They're all doing the same thing. None of them are, for the big string or one's for the little. It's not. Doesn't matter.
How far down in the guitar do you have to stick the string?
Great question. I don't know if I can pull it back up now and show you, but let's see if I can. Yeah. So I had about that much down in the hole. Okay. So it's just enough to get that ball down in there, and then the top end can come over the top with it. It does have to be. You'll feel that it has to go in a certain point, and like right then. It can go way down in there. Like I'm pushing it in, way in. It's like 6 inches in. Now if I pull it, it's gonna stop right where it needs to go. So it doesn't matter if it's too far in. You just pull it back out, and it'll land where it needs to. As I tighten it up with the tuning peg as well, it's gonna pull probably some more back up, and you might even hear it pop at a certain point. Now here's one thing that I believe is very important. All of these tuning pegs right here. They've got a hole in them which you're going to stick the top of the string through. Okay? The easiest way to get this started is make all of those holes run straight across like this. That way you don't have any pointing down or pointing sideways. They're all running straight across. So that's the first thing I'll do with each of the tuning pegs. That way I can make this next step pretty quick. Okay, so now, rule of thumb. As you do this, every single time you're going to start from the inside and push to the out. Okay, if you start doing this, you're going to put all your strings on wrong if you start going from the out to the in. You want to go from the inside to the outside. So every time you put a string in, you want it pointing outwards, away from the guitar. Okay. Now, I like to go ahead and give it a little bit more of a turn so that when I tug on this string, it's going to anchor down pretty good. Now, I haven't changed strings in a little while, and you're definitely better at it if you're doing it every 2 weeks or so. You have to kind of guess how much string room you need here, okay? You don't want too much, because if you've got too much, you're going to fill up this string post here with excess string, okay? But you also don't want not enough, because then it won't make a whole loop around the post. So I try to get about like that, and then typically about like this I think is good. So again, I'm going to turn that so that I'm not straight across now, I'm angled in, so that when I do this, watch, I'm going to pull up with my pinky, and I'm going to push down with my pointer finger, okay? So I'm going to pull up with the pinky and push down with the pointer finger all at once, okay? So now I've got a bend over here in this string. I don't have a bend up here so much, not like an intense bend like that. I can start now turning. I just leave just enough pressure with my pinky and my pointer finger on this string to keep it tight enough to run around it. Let's go over to the top. So everybody does this next part a little bit different, okay? So while we're up here, I like to go one loop over the excess string and then the rest under. So I'll tighten it up until there we go. So you see that it jumped up over that excess string. Now as I come back, I'm gonna go underneath it.
so that it kind of clamps down on that excess string. So now we're underneath. Come on, come on, come on. Man, I kind of wish I hadn't have broke that string spinner. Whatever you call it. So now I'm getting tight enough to where I can almost let my left hand go. Okay? I've got just enough tension. I'm getting close, getting close, getting close, getting close. Okay, now it's time. Let me grab it too. So it's always nice to have a little clip-on tuner around while you're doing this, so that you can just leave it next to you, and that one might be stinking dead. You can leave it next to you as you tighten these up. Both be dead, son. Guess what though? Another thing you ought to keep around. Extra batteries. Are we able to see like any comments or anything from anybody on stuff? As we're living?
We've got 9 people watching.
No way! Hey, what up, 9 people?
No comments yet.
Give us a comment. Don't be mean though, okay? Make it a nice comment. Hey, there we go. Now I got some battery. Okay, so that's a C sharp.
I got one person saying hi.
Hey, who is it?
Costa de Catera.
I don't know. I know that.
That's how I say it correctly. He says, "What up?"
What up? Okay, so now I've got. And by the way, I didn't say this a moment ago, but you want to make sure that as you tighten this string down, it goes right into the notch that it's supposed to go into. On the nut of the guitar up here, there's going to be 6 notches for each string.
I'm gonna go handheld this camera for a second.
Do it, dude. Do your thing. And then I don't know if you guys could tell through that camera, but I just pushed that post back down probably like 2 millimeters. Like it wasn't a lot, but it was enough to secure it a little bit more. But we've got a good, no buzzes happening. That's perfect. So now I'm going to take my clippers. I'm going to get as close as I can to that post and clip that string. Again, it's great to have a trash can around. Just ditch that thing. Okay. There's also a notch down here on the saddle as well that you've got to make sure it's sitting in the right place. All right. So, if you're watching, what is the top string supposed to be tuned to in standard tuning? Can you tell me? Can you tell me? Because I know what it is. Standard tuning, top string, what should it be? I'm going to give you until I get this one put in, and then I'll tell you which one it is. So again, same thing. We're going to stick it in about, I don't know, 1/2 inch or something like that. You'll push the peg down over the top, pull back up gently with the string, and then we're going to come up here to the top part where we've got our peg already turned, so I can start from the middle and push outward. Again, you don't want to do it the other way. That will not turn out very good for you. You'll have to turn all your tuning pegs the wrong way. That should be pretty good right there. See, do you see how much like looseness I'm leaving before I do this? It's not pulled tight. I don't have this tight and then I just like yank it. No, I leave enough to where I can, like I said, push down with the pointer and pull up with the pinky and still have some give. So now I'm going to angle it in before I put the pressure on the string. Now that I have it angled in, we're going to put the pressure. Push down with the pointer, pull up with the pinky, and then you're just going to twist. Again, I like to go over the excess string the first round, just like that. And as it passes under, when you come around this back side, the part that's bent around the post, you have to make sure you go under that as well. So you'll see here in just a second, right about now is when I'll say, okay, let's make sure we make it underneath there. And then you keep on going, and then we'll go underneath the excess string here too. And then after that, you don't have much to worry about. You just tighten it up. Because it'll keep going underneath now that you've wrapped it back under. And again, that's just, I don't remember where I learned to do it that way. That's just the way I did it that way one day and just decided that was how I was gonna that was how I was gonna keep doing it. And I haven't had any problems with it since. So okay, did we have anyone guess the right answer for the top string? That would be.
Wait.
I'll let you check. I wasn't gonna make you check, but if you want to check, I'll let you check. See if anybody got it.
E.
Hey, oh! Come on, you got it right. Top string and standard tuning. That would be an E. All right. So what's the second string? That's the string that I just put on.
Well, we do have one question.
What's the question?
So he's asking, are you tuning it at the same time?
Am I tuning it at the same time? Wonderful question. As I'm putting the strings on, yes, I have the tuner here. I'm tuning it to the correct note. Will it change every single time I'm going to put a new string on? Yes. Am I going to have to go back and retune all of them at the end? Absolutely. Honestly, this guitar is going to come out of tune very easily for probably the next 2 to 3 days. That will give the strings enough time to sit on there and stretch out. And the more you play it, the more stretched out they get. So like, for example, back when I was gigging all the time, I did not ever want to change strings the day of or the day before a gig. I wanted to give myself at least 3 days to let them sit on there because I knew that if I didn't, I was going to be struggling to have those strings stay in tune every single song. I was basically going to have to tune after every stinking song, which is very annoying when you're playing a solo acoustic set. All right, great question. Any more questions you guys have, please hit us with them. I would love to answer your questions. And some of them I may not know the answer to. We may have to find somebody smarter than me. And like I said, if you see me do something and you restring your guitars a little differently, let us know in the comments what you do differently, and I might actually end up liking that better, and we'll switch to the way you do it. Okay, same thing with the next string. We're gonna put the ball in, and then we're gonna put the peg in. Pull up on the string. Come up to the top. I'll get rid of that tuner for a minute. Run it through. Go ahead and give myself a, like I said, I like to have it even when I put the string in, but as soon as I get the string in, I like to angle it down back towards the body of the guitar a little bit, so that when I get to this point, when I take my fingers and put pressure on that string, it's gonna anchor that with it with a cut, or I don't know if cut's the right word, like a strong bend is probably a better word to use there.
Bind is the perfect word.
There you go. Okay, so we went over the excess string in the first. Now we're going to go under. And again, when you're coming around this backside, you've got to make sure that comes up underneath that extra bend on the backside too, or that'll get funky when you get around to the excess string again. You'll be like, why is it not coming all the way underneath? Some of you watching this might be thinking, well, I'm probably just going to take mine to Guitar Center and let them restring it. And that is actually something that you can do. You can take it to Guitar Center, and Guitar Center has, I believe, all of them. I'd be shocked if they all didn't, because most of the ones I've gone in, they have like a guitar repair shop and can do tunings and setups. And
Yep, every single one.
yeah, dude. So that's an easy way to do it if you don't want to deal with it yourself. For me, I was playing gigs all the time for like for my main source of income for years, and it just didn't make any sense to me to go pay someone. I don't know how much they would charge to put on a pack of strings.
About $40.
Does that come with the strings? That's what I figured. So they're probably gonna charge you somewhere in the neighborhood of like $40 plus your strings. And for example, like these electric strings, they were like $9. These elixirs that I'm putting on this acoustic were like $21, $22. But I will say, I am a huge elixir string fan. They last longer than any other string on the market, in my opinion. And I would rather use them just for that reason, so I have to change strings less. Even if I'm paying a little bit more, if I'm having to change them less, that's a game changer for me. So I'm a big Elixir guy for my acoustics. Okay, so all right, I'm gonna ask it again, and let's see if anybody can get it. And if you're cheating and looking these up on Google, boo. But we got the top string for standard guitar tuning that was already answered. It's an E. What is the second string down? Can you tell me?
I do have another question before that.
Hey.
I've seen a lot of those tuner apps.
Mm-hmm.
Do you use those, or do you need to have a tuner?
Great question. Tuner apps are very nice to have, in my opinion, for when you. Hey, Charlie, pillow. Go ahead. We got our studio dog over here today, and I didn't realize poor Cole's allergic to dogs, so I'm over here making him sneeze. The question again, though, hit me with that one more time.
Are tuning apps okay to use, or do you need to have like a real tuner?
So tuner apps are great to use, in my opinion, on the go. Like if I were going to a guitar shop and checking out some guitars, if you've ever done that, you'll know that they're not all tuned all the time. And so you'll have to do some tuning. That's where I primarily use mine. I don't really bring a snark tuner with me to a guitar shop, but honestly, now that I think about it, I might do that next time. It's not a bad idea. I just don't like having to deal with pulling my phone out and pulling that tuner up and using it. I really love the fact that I can keep it clipped on the guitar and it's always there. I don't really have to think about it. Now, if I were playing a show, I wouldn't be using that clip-on tuner. I would be using a pedal tuner, which would be a guitar pedal that I would have a 1/4 inch that would come out of the back of this guitar that would then go into the tuning pedal, and then the tuning pedal would send a signal through another 1/4 inch to the speaker or the speaker system. So my main, like if I'm performing, my favorite thing to have is a pedal tuner. If I'm just sitting in a writing session or I'm here working at my desk, I love the clip-on tuners. I can't tell you the last time I used my phone tuner was maybe at the Creative Vets building, because like I didn't have a tuner sitting around. So like I said, for me, it's just something that I will use if I don't have another kind of tuner around. Do they still work? Absolutely. So if you don't want to buy a tuner, go ahead and use the phone tuner. There's several free apps. I don't know all of them off the top of my head, but there are several out there that you can use. I believe Fender has a pretty good one, a pretty good app, so I would check that one out, no doubt. Okay, we're down to string number 5. Did anybody guess what that second string was? Do we know?
No one has guessed yet.
It's okay. I'm just going to tell you. It's an A. And then the third string down is a D. And the fourth string, the one that we just put on, that's a G string. And again, this is for standard tuning. There are different guitar tunings. And so if you're doing a different tuning, obviously, you're going to have some different letters that go along with it. Okay, same thing here with this one. Make sure you leave yourself enough room. Once you've got it through, angle it back so you can anchor it down. Boom, anchored. Might have left a little more string than what I like on that, but it's still, luckily with these thinner strings, you've got a little bit more wiggle room because they don't take up, like the fat string, you can only wind it like twice, but these little guys, you can wind them 4 or 5 times depending on what kind of guitar you got. The pegs, on each guitar, your pegs are going to be a little bit different sized. So you might have one guitar and you change the strings on it and you got plenty of room, and then you might have another guitar, you change the strings on it and you're like, dude, I can only get 2 wraps on this thing. So, our people that are watching, where are you watching from? What state are you from? Tell us in the comments. Let us know. And if you are a veteran who's been through our Creative Eds program or any of the programs, comment and let us know what program you did. We would love to know. Also, one thing that you could do that would really help us out, if you don't know who Creative Eds is, or like what Creative Eds is, we are a nonprofit and we teach veterans art or music to deal with whatever trauma that they've come back home with. And if that sounds like something cool that you would like to help out and be a part of, the easiest way that you can help us right now, share this live stream. Share it with your friends and your family, and specifically veterans. And if you know a veteran who might benefit from going through one of our programs, please send them our way. The easiest way to get to go through our program is to go to our website, creativevets.org. And when you get there, at the very, very top, there's going to be a link for an application. And you'll just hop on there, fill out the application. And then once we process your application, we will be able to determine what programs will best suit you and what programs you are applicable for. And then we will get you running through that program as quick as we can. One awesome thing about all of our Creative Eds programs, they're completely free to all veterans. So having to pay for it is something you don't have to worry about. We want to really make sure that the veterans that need this don't have anything in their way stopping them. So, yeah, we have some pretty awesome programs where we pair our veterans with hit songwriters and a mentor veteran who's already been through the program and has already gotten their own song. And we will send those 4 people backstage to the Grand Ole Opry. And that veteran will get to write his song backstage at the Grand Ole Opry with hit songwriters. Then the following day after that, all of the veterans that had their writing session backstage at the Opry, we meet at a studio in Nashville with some professional studio musicians. And we bring those songs to life the very next day with a full band. And it's a really, really amazing and special experience every time I get to be a part of it. Sometimes old Richard and Brett will call me up and let me come in and sing the old scratch vocals. And that's always one of my favorite things. Most of the time, the writers that were in the room writing the song, we try to have them come to the studio the next day to do the vocals. Of course, the next day vocals, those are just scratch vocals anyways. We re-record those later on. And sometimes the guys who wrote are unable to be in the studio the next day, and then they holler at me, their favorite bald-headed backup, son. Okay, so now, you can put that camera on me, son. It's time to sit back just a little bit. What y'all think about my blue lights back there? Pretty vibey, right? Alright, so I've got my clip-on tuner here, and like I said, some of these, like that E, I had it tuned up, it's way out now. We got the second string down, that is an A string, then we got a D, that one was way loose. And as you're doing this, don't be like freaked out if you hear pops coming from here. It's just the strings working themselves out with that peg. So the 4th string down is your G string. Fifth down is the B string. And the very bottom is your E string again. So we got an E string on the top and an E string on the bottom for standard tuning. So the guy or lady who was asking about the Like, was I tuning as I put those strings on? Even though I just retuned them all again, they're all pretty much going to be out of whack still. So I'm going to go through it again one more time and see just exactly what I'm talking about here. I don't know if you can see the tuner here on the camera, but I just tuned that string up and it was an E and now it's a D sharp. So you're going to have to do a lot of tuning after you put on a fresh set of strings. And here in just a moment, I'll show you another trick I use to make the string stretching process go just a little bit faster. And that trick is this. So I like to just take the strings, and don't do this too hard or you're going to pop them and you're going to have to do everything you just did over again. So before I do this, I always just double check and make sure all my pegs are pushed in all the way. I'll just pull up on it just a little bit with both hands, just so it gets some stretch going.
Also, he's watching from India.
Oh, India! No way! That's epic, dude. Well, thanks for tuning in. Share this with all your other friends in India. And keep on picking, brother. I wonder if they are a fan of Derek Trucks. Derek Trucks, and forgive me for speaking on this and not knowing the actual technicality of all of it, but Derek Trucks plays some Indian style music on his electric slide guitar. So check him out, and you may watch Derek Trucks and be like, that bald-headed guy was so dumb. This is not Indian style music on a slide guitar, but I'm pretty sure it is. So check it out and let me know next time if I was right or if I was wrong. Regardless, I will say this: you're gonna love watching Derek Trucks. That man is one of the best. So again, tuning here for the third time. Everything's still out of whack. I don't know if you noticed what I just did on that G string, but it was basically a small version of what we just did, stretching the strings. If I'm tuning but one keeps coming over and it's sharp a little bit, I'll tug on that specific string just to see if I can get it to get a little bit lower. Boom, baby. I think I might have had mediums on there. These feel lighter, but that's okay. I told y'all I like mediums a little bit better, but these will work for a while. Cool, dude. So, now that I've got those, I'm going to make sure I polish the back side of it a little bit. Make sure the neck is got some, typically run a little polish down it too. Just so everything is, there's no like extra grime chilling anywhere. Alright, Cole, how long are you planning on being cool doing this?
I can probably be here till about 3.
Oh yeah? Cool. So with that being said, we're going to do not all of the guitars. And I probably will jump on an electric next because they're a little different, take a little longer, and sometimes they're a little bit more of a pain in the butt. And I will pick the one that is more of a pain in the butt so you guys can really see what I'm talking about. The other acoustic would have been basically the exact same thing as this. And again, we may do this another day as well. This is the first time we've done a guitar tuning live stream, and we had to spend some time learning how it all worked, setting it up. So next time we'll have a little bit more time to do it. And if it weren't for Coleman over here, we wouldn't be doing nothing, son, because I was lost as last year's Easter egg on that steak and OBS stuff, but Cole had it figured out, son. Okay, that feels good and shiny enough to me. I like it. What do y'all think? Yeah, oh, look at that shine, son. Look at that shine. There ain't no grime on there, nothing. Perfect. Okay. So this next one is a big old pain in the booty, but I do love this guitar. So this is a D'Angelico, and I think it is actually technically like a Bob Weir edition. But don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure it is. So there's a lot of different things on electrics than you have just your acoustics, right? I've got some humbucker pickups in this thing, but it's got these, I can't remember what they call them. They call them something, coil tappers or something like that. I can't remember the exact name, but these tone knobs on the back, if I pop them forward, it turns these, well, this one just came all the way off. I'm about to put a little glue in on that one. When you pop them up, it takes these humbuckers and turns them into a single coil pickup. Because a humbucker has got two single coils stacked on top of each other, right? So essentially what it does is it just turns off one of those coils and leaves you just the one left. Which a single coil is going to be what you would find on like a Strat. That's the kind of pickup. And I wish I had mine down here. I'd show it to you, but I don't. Okay, so same thing we did earlier. We're going to take these tuning pegs or strings and loosen them up with the tuning pegs. And since I broke my string winder, we're going to do it the old-fashioned way, son. And that's about all you need, just enough to be able to not have super tension on there. And then we can cut them all without it like causing any damage to the guitar or any just like frustration to it. You got any more questions coming in, Cole?
Okay.
It's pretty cool that you can check that while we did that.
He does know exactly what you're talking about. He says he's an absolute legend in India.
I was right, son! Come on! Yes, he is. And guess what, brother? He's a freaking legend here, too. He's one of my favorites and has certainly inspired me on a deep level. My beautiful wife, I think it was the first year we were dating, she got me a ticket to see them, the Tedeschi Trucks Band, live at the Ryman. And that was one of the most unbelievable shows I've ever seen in my entire life. It really, really was. I was lucky to get to be there, and she's the best for making that happen. And her parents came with us, and her brother and sister-in-law, and it was a really awesome night. And believe it or not, man, there was a guy who used to run, he ran sound for me at this bar called Belcourt Taps. And almost every single writer's round that I played hundreds of writer's rounds at Belcourt's Taps in college and after college. And the guy that ran sound there, his name was Ben Cowherd. Ben, if you know Ben Cowherd, he's one of the sweetest guys that's ever walked the planet. And everybody loved him. I don't know if I ever met anybody that didn't love Ben. He was a sweet, sweet guy. And unfortunately, we lost him in a motorcycle accident a year or so ago. And man, it just makes me sad every time I think about it. He was a sweet guy. And I'll tell you a story of how sweet he was. When I was at that concert with my wife and her family, I looked on Facebook and my buddy Ben Cowherd posted. He said, "Is anybody else at the Tedeschi Trucks show at the Ryman?" And so I got off Facebook and I called Ben and I said, "What's up, dude?" And I could hear he was in a crowd somewhere. And he said, "I'm out here at the Tedeschi Trucks Band show. Where are you?" And I said, "Me too, dude." He said, "No way." And I said, "Yes way." He goes, "Who are you there with? Who are you here with?" And I said, "Well, I'm here with my wife and her parents and her brother and sister-in-law." And he said, "Okay, He sounded kind of like almost a little disappointed. I was like, "What's up?" He goes, "Is there any way you and your wife could Uber home?" And I was like, that was like a weird question. I was like, "Is there any way we can Uber home?" I mean, yeah, I guess. Why? What's up? And he goes, "I have 2 extra backstage passes. If you want to go back, if you and your wife want to go backstage with me after the show." And we did, and it was very awesome. We didn't get to meet Derek and Susan, but Gabe Dixon. Do you guys know who Gabe Dixon is? So Gabe plays, I believe Dixon is how you pronounce it. Gabe plays piano now for the Tedeschi Trucks Band. The piano player they had before him, I believe his name was Kofi, something Kofi or Kofi something. And he was unbelievable, but he passed away. I can't remember what sickness he was dealing with, but he passed away. And Gabe had literally it was kind of like a trial run for him being in the band. He wasn't even official yet. And that was how Ben had the backstage passes, because Gabe used to play shows at Belcourt Taps, and they were tight buddies. And so we did get to meet Gabe, and Gabe showed us his entire piano and organ rig, and I got to stand at his rig on the stage afterwards, and it was just a really, really awesome and surreal moment. Again, we didn't get to meet Derek and Susan, but we did see them back there, and honestly, I didn't want to bother them because I could tell they were exhausted. They had played a really amazing show, and I think they had like a few nights there too, so it wasn't just like one night and moving along. They had a lot of it. No. But if you know guitar players, you might know the other guy that was back there that we did get to say hey to. His name's Guthrie Trapp. Guthrie Trapp is a freaking maniac, and if you know anything about guitar, and if you watch guitar tutorials online, you've probably seen some of Guthrie's videos. I certainly have watched many of them. But Guthrie's a nice guy. I'd seen him play a couple of times. And actually, I played guitar for a girl who performed before him at a venue one time. So I guess you could say I even opened for him at one point. That was a really cool night. So shout out to Ben Cowherd and his family, and I miss catching up and talking with that guy. It was always like seeing a family member every time I ran into him, and I sure miss him. Okay, same thing we did with the acoustic. We're going to do it here. What I do with my dang toothpick. There it is, son. So, I'm going to slide up in the chair now. And this one I'm even going to be a little bit more delicate with. And to be honest with you, there's probably not a lot of stuff. I've played more slide in the last few years than I have everything, because with the pain that I deal with, it doesn't take as much force to play with the slide and to get the notes that you're looking for as it does having to get the notes with your fingers and your finger muscles. You know, you don't have to use as many muscles, or as many muscles as aggressively when you're playing with the slide, I guess is maybe the best way to put it. We got any more questions, Cole?
Let me see what we got. Unplug my phone. Nothing yet.
Nothing yet. How many people we got watching?
Right now, just one.
Hey, one is better than none. I'm surprised. I still can't get over we had somebody tune in from India. Well, you're about to see all the fun here in a moment of tuning an electric guitar, and restringing. This might talk you out of a certain style because it is a little bit more difficult, but this is a beautiful and amazing guitar that I love. Alright, where's my... So we're going to do the same thing with the fretboard.
He's still here, he says.
Same guy?
Yeah.
My dude! Okay, so I like to come across the top with some fresh lubrication here. And man, I wish that you guys could maybe see the color change difference when this happens, but it's pretty significant to the naked eye as I'm doing it here. Okay, so I got a clean fretboard. I always try to clean my headstocks up a little bit too. Most of the time they're gonna gather a little bit of dust. Also, the pickups will typically get a little bit of like finger grime on them. So I try to clean those guys up a little bit as well. This particular guitar doesn't love polish so much. You can see that it kind of shows there a little bit. You really just use it more of as a way to clean some grime off. You don't want to really load it down with the polish on this particular kind of finish. And I'm not 100% sure what kind of finish it is, but I would say it's like a matte finish, that kind of deal. Up here under the cutaway typically gets a little dirty too. Dust will collect there when it's hanging on the walls and all that jazz. Okay, so I also have, like, this is kind of hard to see. This particular guitar, its input is right here on this back corner, right? Ooh, there it is. Okay, so that's the input. That little, I don't know if bolt's not the right word, but
Jack.
no, jack's not the word I'm looking for either. It's the piece that like screws on right here. You see what I'm saying? Like you've got, maybe if you want to call it that. It's just like the nut, that's it. The freaking nut that goes on, that screws on to the input. That is something that you need to check every so often to make sure it is tight. Because I've been playing, I pulled my cable out and that stinking thing has just fell off, and then the input goes into the guitar and you're like, how do I get it out of there? So just constant, if you've got something like that, I think my SG has a similar situation, and so does that Kretzmann guitar. I will also say too, if you use a strap, these little guys, these little rubber strap locks are the bomb, dude. I love using these things because I typically will just leave. I like to leave the same strap on the same guitar, so that I like just get used to how each of them feel. If you switch them up, you can kind of feel some differences. But that just, you put your strap on and then you take this little rubber, it's a rubber nut, and you just slide it on over the top of it, and it'll keep that strap from coming loose while you're playing on it. I believe the brand of these is, it literally just says Safety Lock. So, no, what's this one say? Fender! So Fender makes them. One of them says Safety Lock, the other one says Fender. So, I guess I've got, dadgummit, that wasn't supposed to happen. So hey, I'm glad you guys are watching this. You're learning a valuable lesson from my stinking dumbness. Okay. So, my saddle. My bridge just jumped loose on me. Hopefully that didn't change much there. Because if it did, I'm going to notice. And I'll have to bring that back down. And I think it went that way, but I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm not 100% sure. That's what we're going to go with, though. So, when you're working on an electric like this, maybe don't sling it around, because parts will go flying. And I can't tell y'all how many times I've stinking done that. It is always annoying every time it happens. So, learn from my mistakes, friends. Alright, let's get these strings on there, and maybe even try to look at a pedal or two before Cole's got to roll out of this joint, son. That feels like that's what I'm going with. Hopefully it works. So, again, I like to start with the thick one. Maybe it's the other way around. So this is my least favorite part about this guitar. You have to take the ball and you have to loop it underneath and get it to catch in this little post. And that's because I have this Bigsby on here. Now, you could probably have this guitar or something very close to it without the Bigsby, and that might make it a little easier to change the strings. But the Bigsby is a freaking awesome thing to have. I love it. So now you got to go underneath this, which is the hardest part, this little bar. And then once you get it underneath there, come on, come on, come on. Now we're going to do exactly what we did earlier. See, I'm pushing that ball back onto that post to make sure it doesn't come loose. This is even harder because I have to keep tension on this the entire time, unlike the acoustic. So I'm going to have to bring my thumb forward so I can keep tension on it. I forgot to set these straight when I went in before we got started putting strings on, but that's okay. So again, I'm going to run it through until I feel like I've got enough tension, which that feels like it might be a pretty good amount right there. So let's go ahead. Let's turn it just a little bit more. If I got just a little bit more. Okay, so now I've got good even tension on either side. Let's go over the top with it. Man, I will say, so I'm trying some new electric strings here. And I like some pretty heavy strings. I like to play slide. The heavier they are, the more forgiving I would say that they are for you while using the slide. So that's why I prefer them. And I say all that to say this is definitely a heavy string. It's a fat one for sure. Okay, I did about the perfect amount because it's only going to get to go underneath that much. So the last time I did this guitar too, I forgot about that bar with the Bigsby. I just went straight over it, which wasn't the end of the world. It still played and still played okay, but I would sometimes accidentally bring it off of the its track up here, where these little rollers on the bridge, sometimes it would accidentally get pulled off of that. Yeah, that's a fat one, dude. It's a fat one, but I ain't mad at it. I like it. It's gonna growl, baby, like a lion. Okay, first string, that's the E string. Second string, we got the A string. I'm gonna do the same thing. So Cole, when you look at these, like the questions that the commenting, is that coming just from YouTube,
This
or
is just from YouTube, yeah.
are we just on YouTube right now, or are we on the other platforms currently as well?
We should be on Instagram and Facebook, but I was having a hard time pulling it up, so I think I might have done something wrong.
What, Cole?
So more things to figure out for next time.
Dare.
But this is all recorded, so I can get this uploaded today.
I was
Edit
just
it down to make it easy.
I was just curious, because I was like, if that's just that's probably just YouTube, and if so, there might be some other ones in the other platforms, and that's pretty cool. I like it. Makes me already excited about the next one. So I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm using my arm to keep the tension over there on that one, which is probably not the smartest move, and I might regret it here in just a moment. Let's see. Oh, see, told you I was going to regret it. But it's okay. All that happened was the ball, which has a little hole in it that loops through or loops around that post. If you don't keep the right amount of tension on that, it's gonna jump back out. Charlie, pillow, buddy. Go to the pillow and I'll give you a big old kielbasa sausage after we're done with this. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. A big old kielbasa sausage. I might even give you some deer livers. I had some deer jerky at the building yesterday and I couldn't get cold to try none of it. I'm working on it now. I'm gonna make it happen one of these days. But I will say, Kyle Yepson ate some of it. He told me that it was really good beef jerky. Now, it wasn't beef, it was venison. But he said, man, I ain't gonna lie, that was some really good beef jerky. And Kyle's a deer hunter hater. He's watched Bambi too many times. I'm working on him though. One day we're gonna get out there and get us a big old Tennessee whitetail, and he's gonna be game over for him, son. He'll never go back. Okay, the A string is almost on here. Come on. We ain't gonna have time to look at any pedals, are we? That's okay though. We'll save it for another time. So as you can tell, a string winder is a nice tool to have, and when you don't have one, it just takes everything a little bit longer to do. It's not the end of the world. It's a little tedious though. Okay, so as I do these, I always try to check also the position of these strings and try to line them up as good as I can with where they are anchored down at. It's not necessarily the most important thing in the world. Alright, now we got the D string. So I just taught myself a new little trick. I'm going to stick this string under that Bigsby bar to begin with, so that I don't have to do it afterwards. I'm always afraid I'm going to scratch up the finish a little bit when I do that, so I like this move. See, you learn something new every time, guys and girls. And like, the thing is, you just got to try it. Like, if you never try to change the strings on your guitar, you're never going to be good at it. But if you try, you're probably going to mess up a time or two. And guess what? That is okay. We all do. I've probably messed up 4 or 5 packs of strings in my day. Like in a way to where I wasted them, basically. But you live and you learn, and you get a little better every time. So that's what it's all about. And see, like now, I'm not even really having to think about how much distance I'm going to leave for the string, because I've done it so many times. And another thing that I like to tell people about changing their strings is, it's, in my opinion, it's one of the most important things you can learn how to do. Because if you put yourself in a position to where you're like, I'm not going to learn how to do that, and I'm going to rely on myself to pay someone else to do it for me, that means you got to drive to the store and pay them money to get them to do it. The likeliness of you doing that every time is not as good as if you just learn how to do it and are able to do it yourself. Because it's a lot easier to convince yourself to spend $15 to $20 to get a new set of strings rather than, what did you say, 40 plus up?
40 plus
so $55, $60 plus a trip to Guitar Center. But if you're like, I don't want to learn how to do it, Guitar Center is a great place to take it. I just always recommend to my students that they learn how to do this, because you just never know when you're going to pop a string either. Like, it's just always nice to know how to get rocking again. You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. Down to the G string. Again, I'm going to go under the bar here. Wrap up under the Bigsby. Hey, if you're into watching live streams, we had a live stream for Giving Tuesday that I'm sure you can probably watch again somewhere
Yep, it's on YouTube.
on our YouTube. Yeah. That was a really awesome live stream. I was fortunate enough to get to play some of the songs that I've written with my veterans through Creative Vets. And I didn't mention this earlier, but I am not a veteran. I'm just a bald-headed civilian that loves playing guitar and writing songs, and I get to hang out and have fun with all the veterans as we write songs together. There we go. So I mentioned earlier that we have the songwriting program where we pair you up with hit songwriters and you go backstage at the Opry and write your song back there. We also have virtual songwriting. Like if you are unable to travel or you just don't want to travel and maybe don't want to be around people or whatever, guess what? We can still work together virtually. I could... What I do is I do one-on-one songwriting sessions virtually with veterans all over the country several times a week. And so if you are one of those people and you want to apply for the program and you don't want to travel and do all that stuff, all you got to do is say, I would like to be a part of the virtual programming, and we will make that happen. And sometimes we even have, if you're like, well, I'd like to do virtual, but I don't want to write with that bald-headed guy. Well, guess what? We have virtual cohorts where we have more songwriters come and help write as well. So you might not even get stuck with me. You might get one of them. But that is an option for people who can't travel or do not want to travel. We also have really, really awesome art programs. We run a program with Belmont University, or have for the last several years, which I believe is a 2-week program where you do lots of art, but then this last cohort actually did music too while they were here. We have art programs in Chicago. We have astrophotography programs. Where'd they do that, Cole? In Utah?
Utah and Texas.
Utah and Texas. So we have a lot of really, really awesome programs. Am I missing any that you can think of, Cole?
Scars to Scripts.
Oh yeah, Scars to Scripts for sure. So even we do some, like, if you're a local person, if you're a local veteran, we even have some local programs that happen at our building. So like recently we did a sewing thing, right? And then we do the acting stuff for Scars to Scripts, and so there's a lot of different programs available. And if you are interested, if you're a veteran and you're interested, please check it out. That's what we're here for. And if you are someone listening to this and you're like, man, I've got a buddy who served, who's just like really been going through it, he needs an outlet or she needs an outlet, please send them our way. If they're like not into the thought of it, that's okay. Maybe look up some of our music that we release online and listen through the songs. And if you hear one that you think that might resonate with them really well, play it for them, because it could change their perspective, and they may hear something in that song that might make them think, you know what, just hearing somebody else's story in the song made me feel better about mine, and I think I could do the same thing. And I will say this, as someone who has written somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 songs with 200 different veterans all over this country, I have seen it. I don't want to say it fixes people's problems, because it doesn't. But I have seen it become an outlet for people in a way that they never could have imagined. And I've seen it make people look at their situation differently than when they did them before the writing session started. So it's a really, really special thing. And I want everybody who is out there that needs it to get to be a part of it. So if you know someone that might appreciate it, send them our way. Last string. And then we'll see how this stinking thing plays since I threw the bridge across the floor a minute ago. I'll probably put it on backwards, which will mean I'll get to change the strings to this and again when we do the next one. But that's A-okay.
Is the process the same?
The process would definitely, for this specific guitar, yeah, it'd be the same. I would just take this. If you look at this, you can set the bridge on the guitar facing this way or flip it around and facing the other way, and it'll sit in there perfectly either way, and you can still stack the strings. I'm not 100% sure if I did it the right way or not. So, we'll find out. Ultimately, it'll still play. Hopefully, nothing will be rattly. And I'm hoping I have it on there the same way I did last time. But again, Cole, I'm going to be honest with you. The last time I did this, I think I did the exact same thing. So, a little trick here. I'm having a hard time getting this ball to stick in the pin. So, I'm going to bend this a little bit down here so I can get it to kind of curve back up at me. See that? See how I've got it bent just a little bit on the end? So, now I'm going to stick it up underneath and see if I can get it to... hook on that post. If not, I don't know what I'm going to do. Because now it's flipping the other way on me. Come on, son. Everybody's going to be like, I don't want a Bigsby. I will say this, though. If you use a Bigsby, they're really fun to have. So maybe if I come out with it like here, like that, sometimes having that string up underneath it. Hey-oh, there we go. Alright, so now I've got to go back under that post. Come on, don't scratch my finish. It just did. Boom. Alright, we're almost done. Thank y'all for hanging on. Then we're going to angle down here, give us some more string. Oh, see, look what I did there. I didn't angle enough. I don't know if y'all could see how that string bent a little bit, but you can still save the day. Just like that right there. Come up underneath the bent part on the back. And then underneath the excess string here. Come on, buddy. I'm telling y'all, that string winder is worth a few dollars, that's for sure. Ain't no doubt about it. I'm going to be buying me a new one, son. Ooh, I'm pushing you down to the last minute.
That's going to be perfect.
Well, we were thinking about looking at some pedals today too and talking about putting together a pedal board, but I think we're going to run out of time, which is totally fine. That means that's the exact thing we're going to do next whenever we do one of these again. Hopefully. Okay. Let's tighten them up here. Let me get these clipped off. And then before we bounce, I'll even plug this thing up to an amp and let it growl at you a little bit. Any kind of wire pliers will work for this. You don't have to get anything special, but having some wire cutters will definitely be a good thing for you here. So let's get this sucker tuned back up. This is something y'all might want to learn about here too. I think CFG stands for cable free guitar. Forgive me if I'm not saying that right, but I think it is. And this is exactly what CFG stands for. It's a cable free situation. So it's just Bluetoothing my guitar signal down there to my tuning pedal. So where's my strap? I just took it off a minute ago. Did I hide it from the sun? That
just use this one, I guess, but I had that black one when I threw the bridge across the floor. So, can you take that camera off the mount?
Yeah.
Can you show them this pedal tuner down here if you can? So, when I punch, like I said, I've got, normally you would either have a 1/4 inch, but this situation we're using the cable-free guitar Bluetooth system. If I engage, click my tuner there, and I start plucking the strings, it's going to tell me what note they are. Now I like to play and drop D a lot of the time, so I'm going to leave that top one as a D instead of an E. And the second one is going to be an A. And this is why I love a pedal tuner, man, because it works just like your other tuners would, but it's on the floor. And if you're performing, you don't have to have like a goofy old blue clip-on tuner on the top. It just looks a little more professional, in my opinion. And most of your professional musicians are going to be, you'll notice if you go to a concert, you're not going to see snark tuners on the top of people's guitar most of the time. You're going to see them clicking the floor tuner just like this. This particular floor tuner, I believe, is an Ibanez. Not 100% sure. I'll have to take a closer look in a second. My lovely studio dog that you guys met a minute ago, Mr. Oh dang it, I was turning the wrong one. Mr. Charlie came running through the house one day and kicked that tuner, and it smacked up against that pedal board, and when it did, it broke the glass face on the front of it. So I've got myself some good old-fashioned tape over the top of it. I've got a 1-year-old boy, and he likes to play with these pedals, and I was just afraid he was going to cut his little fingers. So, as you can tell, floor tuner works really, really great. I love it. See, and just like with the acoustic, as you go through and change one of them, it's going to change the others as well. Man, drastically. Like, whole step change it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling y'all, dude, these strings are fat, dude. I bet they're about to sound real beefy, man. So I don't know if you guys noticed, I just did a little stretch there, like just to make sure, until it starts landing pretty even after a stretch. That's where I want it to. And you're like, man, this is tedious. This takes a long time. Yeah, it is. It does. That's why some people like to pay people to do it. And while a lot of your like professional musicians are going to probably have a guitar tech on staff, on tour with them, taking care of all these things on a regular basis. Some guitar players are a little bit more hands-on than others with their gear, but most of them would have, like I said, a guitar tech on hand. So we won't get to go through this pedals, and I would say pedal board. This is more like a pedal mess down here. But one day we'll get back on here and do that. But I'm going to add a little bit of... Man, that's thinking cutaway not there. As y'all can tell, I like to play a little slide too. But I'm no Derek Trucks. No Derek Trucks. Okay, guys, that's how you restring an electric guitar with a Bigsby on it. That's what I would say, because not all D'Angelicos are going to string like that. And it's really the Bigsby that made it so intense, which actually, before I take it all the way off, I'll show you kind of how a Bigsby works and why people would want that on their guitar to begin with. So if I were to play
anything. Like, now, since we just tuned it, honestly, hitting that Bigsby probably just brought literally half of it out of tune. That's another thing that's kind of like using a Bigsby or a whammy can kind of bring things out of tune sometimes, and that was drastic, dude. But I do love having a Bigsby for like, oh, I like that pickup too. So it just kind of bends the note, right? And some people are much better at it than I am. Get you one. All right, crew, I think that's what we have time for today. And the next time Cole and I are able to get together and do this, I might restring a couple more guitars. But then we're going to get a good look at this pedal board / pedal mess and figure out what all is going on. I'm going to add a couple of pedals into the situation and talk you through how I would set up my board. And thank you guys for tuning in. Thank y'all for hanging with us. Again, thank you for the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe to not only the YouTube channel, but to the Facebook and Instagram and all of that fun stuff. Tell all your veteran friends about us. And I would also say, if you're not a veteran, one of my favorites, so much better, just by getting to listen to the music, and not only the music, but getting to see the art that we do. And so follow us on all the socials. You'll get to see more of that as we continue to do more and more art. Thank you guys. Love y'all. Have a great day. Peace.
Cool.
Not bad, dude.
Gonna be in the string.
I feel like I didn't think about this before, but when you are stringing,